Catch up with the Mayor of our region, Mr. Matthew Dickerson. Morning, Dicko. We've had a little bit of a wet, soggy weekend. I see council's full swing cleaning up the mess as the water starts to recede.
Yeah, I'm not even sure if we've cleaned up a lot yet because the water's still coming down. And the interesting part is always Burrendong Dam because they like to keep a bit of headroom in Burrendong Dam for more rain that comes in. So believe it or not, they normally let out a bit of water even though we think we've got enough water at the moment. So there's a bit of water still being let out. We've got to wait till they do that before we start cleaning up. But the big thing, I think, is whether or not we can get the Tamworth Street Bridge, the pedestrian bridge, cleaned up in time for Saturday because Parkrun's got its 7th anniversary this Saturday. So we want to try and get that sorted out before that because I don't know that they want to turn Parkrun into a triathlon where you have to start swimming across the bridge rather than running across the bridge.
Well, and I'm assuming every time a bridge gets flooded, you've got to have an engineer check the structural integrity after big logs go down and things like that.
That would make sense, but I think that bridge and the other one, the Shibble Bridge, which are both designed to go underwater in floods, I think they're designed to handle that water, so probably don't need to get full engineering designs and looking at it again afterwards. So hopefully they're right.
Send the engineers down in their diving suits. Go have a look, guys. No, it's all good. This bridge was built for it.
That's right. What are we wasting our time for? It's all okay.
Let's talk NRL. What the chances are of getting more games back here in the Central West? Do we need to start a GoFundMe page? What's the plan?
Actually, I like that idea. I do like that. Can you start that today, please? Because it'll take a little while to build up the money.
GoFundMe page.
So the really interesting part here is that no other council really talks about how much it costs. They think that the NRL is a beautiful, wonderful organisation, and they just send teams out to regional areas because they love rugby league in the bush. Unfortunately, it's a commercial decision. And, for example, South Sydney, $350,000 we had to pay them this year and last year. Plus, when we get some corporate sponsors for a corporate sponsor area, they take half that sponsorship money. So South Sydney picked up close up to $400,000 to come and play a game here this year. Now, the state government has given us $150,000 for last year's game and this year's game. So that defrays some of the cost. But it still cost the community this year, when we did a final wrap-up of it all, $67,000. Now, you say, well, that's a fair bit of money. But then again, it injected $2.8 million into our economy. So you start to weigh up whether it's worthwhile or not. Now, our council resolution is that we're not definitely going ahead next year. We've got to go and negotiate with some clubs, see if we can come up with a final costing of what it's going to cost us, and then bring that back to council. We have to do all that by the end of August to then say whether or not we go ahead, and whether or not it's South Sydney, because there are other clubs out there, although most clubs charge a similar amount of money. It's not cheap getting teams out here. So I'm actually really keen to hear from the community whether the community thinks it's worthwhile paying all that money to get a club to come out and play a game out here.
Is there a way the community can do that?
Just send emails, mayor@dubbo.nsw.gov.au, talk to your friendly councillor, talk to any councillor that you know about it, because obviously it will be a council resolution going forward. Yeah. And we'll have more information as we negotiate with some of these various clubs. But the real question is, it's a hit to the bottom line of council. It's going to cost us some amount of money, whether it's $67,000 or without the state government money, $220,000. Whatever amount it is, everyone agrees it's great to have rugby league out here. It's great to see all these people come from the region, watch a game of rugby league, injects money into the economy. But if I'm a ratepayer that's not interested in rugby league, do I really want to pay some of my rates money to a rich NRL club? And that's the question, I suppose, from my point of view, from our point of view, council. Do we want to do that? Is that the best way to spend our money for the community, or should we fill some potholes?
Dicko, I heard you've been given your glorious mullet ahead of Mulletfest.
It's a bit of a challenge for me to grow a mullet these days. I might need another year to grow a mullet, but I've tagged on a mullet. I'll put a photo up shortly. I'm not sure if I want to put the photo up because it's not a good look, is it? And my apologies to anyone out there with a mullet. I'm sure you think it looks wonderful, but on me, a mullet just doesn't do it. I'm not
it's
sure.
A beautiful look, I think. I think you should be. I think you should get the real deal and have it there all the time.
Oh, gee, I'm not sure if I've got enough hair to keep doing that. So I will give you a slight admission. When I was very young, and I'm talking about a silly, rebellious teenager, I used to have one of those silly little rat's tails. So I'm not sure if I can tie my mullet up into a rat's tail, whether that's a better look or they just all look bad.
Well, either way, looking forward to seeing you, and even Dougal Saunders has got some photos with the mullet on as well for Mulletfest coming up next month.
Yeah, August 20 Mulletfest is on. Who knew Mulletfest was a thing, eh?
You talk about the NRL games driving the economy in town. Mulletfest, it's going to change the world, I'm telling you now.
Yeah, good. Apparently you're up at a Bunnings barbecue as well at the end of July, 30th of July. Dougal and I are meant to be up there cutting some hair, cutting mullets off, all sorts of things. I'm not sure about Dougs' talent on the Clippers, but my talents aren't real good on the Clippers. So beware. Anyone that comes along, beware.
Speaking of getting people's opinions, you're looking for opinions tonight in regards to the pool.
Well, it's actually an interesting concept. We've had the pool in Dubbo managed externally for a number of years. Then we took it internal, not actually quite sure if there's any business case or any logic to bring it internal, but we brought it internal so our staff have been managing it. And they've done a good job, but there are certain constraints when you've got a staff member doing things as opposed to an external contractor. So it's actually ended up costing us for our 3 pools. It cost us last year about $1.7 million to run our 3 pools, Wellington, Geary and Dubbo. So tonight we're actually having a workshop to go through the costings of that and basically make a decision on whether or not we should go back to external for all 3 pools, external for one or any of those 3 pools, so we could do it as one big contract, individual ones, and really just go through that and thrash all that out with councillors and then take that out to the community to say, well, this is where we think we should go. It is scary how much swimming pools cost us in the community. That's a big cost. Again, you always bring it back to potholes. What everyone talks to me about at the moment is how can we fill more potholes? I'm not saying we should go and close down our pools, but I think we need to run them in the most efficient way possible.
Yeah, I was wondering how much sort of revenue could be back generated out of a pool, because at the moment that's being run by council. It's actually quite affordable. I wonder how much that price would reflect with an external contractor.
No, the pricing, if you have an external contractor, it's still the price set by council. So when we put out that for a contract, it's about running the pool. They can make some extra money out of the canteen, that sort of thing, but the actual entry price is set by councillors. So that doesn't change. With an external contractor, as we had before, compared to internal, it wasn't as if price changes dramatically. It was CPI-type price increases, but that's something that we still set. It's really about the efficiency of running that. And part of the problem is a pool's not open all year round. So if we employ staff internally at council to run the pool, then we've got to find something for those staff to do for the other 6 months of the year. So that's part of the problem. A contractor approaches that a little bit differently. Plus there's award wages for council staff compared to award wages for pool staff. And if they're our staff running the pool, we've got to pay them council award wages, which gets expensive on weekends, for example.
Well, looking forward to seeing what the end result will be. Thank you so much for your time this morning, Mayor Matthew Dickerson.
Always my pleasure.